Hi there. In this video, I'm going to talk about a very basic thing of HTML called as the form controls. They are also called as the fields or the input types based on the software that you use or the programming language that you follow. And they are nothing but the way of taking the data input by the user using the keyboard or the mouse and then submitting on the website, which gets transferred to the backend server and gets stored in the database or a file. So you can call it with whatever name you want, but in the end they are mostly the basic input types of HTML. So let us see with examples what are the various input types that can be used in HTML. I'm sure everybody of you would have seen them, but today is the day when we actually learn how to code them. So let me take you to the HTML file, and inside the body I'm going to write the code for following types of controls or input types. The first one would be text. Let's put them in a comment. Okay, and second would be password, and then we will have checkbox, then radio buttons, then select, then submit, and okay, so let's start with the text field. So you must have seen the text fields in the form where you are supposed to write a piece of string including the numbers. And how do you write that piece of code? To start with, you have this keyword called as the input, and in HTML, since everything starts with every tag starts with a less than sign, and the keyword that we are going to use in most of the cases is called as input. Okay, and the next word that we are going to use is called as type, which will indicate what kind of input it is. In our case it's going to be text, so we just put text between two double quotes, and that's it. That should show us an input with the place where we can type in our comment or anything else that we want to type in. If we run this program on the browser, let's so as you can see, I can just type whatever I want, and this is the input that takes my text input from the keyboard. Okay, next one we're going to check is the password. Alright, the important thing about password is that you're typing something but it's only outputting stars, and we again open the HTML tag with less than sign and then type in input, and this time in the place of text we're going to write password and then close it using the slash and the greater than sign. If you run this again, we can see that the first input is the text and the second one is the password. So if I type something in here, you can see that only dots are being outputted, and it depends on the different browsers what kind of characters will you see, but this is primarily to indicate that this is a password field, and this is just a visual confirmation, a kind of a visual help to understand, but it is not secure. The data that you send across the server can still be seen, so even if you type something here, that it does not mean that it is encrypted. You will have to have either a SSL certificate to encrypt it, or you will have to uh, encrypt it before you send it to server. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next one is the checkbox. The purpose of the checkbox is to provide the user an option where they can enter either a yes value or a no value. So for example, are you a citizen of certain country? So you have to just put a checkbox, yes I am, or do you agree to terms and conditions. You might have seen this in the websites. Use the less than sign and type in the word as input, type equal to checkbox. That's it. So as you can see here, a checkbox has been created and you can either check it or uncheck it. Okay, moving on, we have something called as the radio button. The purpose of the radio button is to select something from the number of the options that you have. So let's say you have two options. The first one is the gender that is male, and the second one is the gender that is female. And how you're going to represent that using the round radio buttons is that you use a radio, okay, and then you have to add something called as name, and let's call it gender, okay, and then you add the actual value of the uh, radio button which you're going to see on the screen, not the value that you're going to send on the server. And you have another radio button. Once again you will give the name as same as above, and the next would be the value that you're going to see on the screen as female, and then we close it by putting the slash input button. Now let us see how this thing works out on the browser. So you can see a radio button has been created with previously it was unchecked. You can check it through programming, but you can see that you can only select one of it. So that is the beauty, and that happened because of the fact that we gave them the same name. It's very important, so keep that in mind. All right, and the next thing would be select statement. Now select is a drop down list where you have multiple lists inside a field which drops down when you click on it. So how do we create it? Let's see. So we do a select, start with the select keyword, or we can also start with, so to create the select drop down, we're going to start again with the less than sign and do a select, and then write a select and close it with the greater than sign, and the ending tag is slash select, and inside that we're going to write the multiple values. We have just set the framework, and to set the multiple values we're going to use something called as option, and the counter would be slash option. So this will create first option. Let's create 3 more options. Let's give the first option a country as US, say, and second is Great Britain, and third is Germany. And this is all about just showing it the controls on the screen. It's not about Till now we have not discussed about what data will be sent to the server, because if you save and if you submit this information to the server, probably nothing will get sent to the server. So let us see what is the output of this select statement. So as you can see, we have a drop down which has three values that we had indicated, and this is how you create a select statement with options. Okay, the last part is the submit button, and we will add one more part, just the plain button, in case we need it. So submit button is something used to submit the form that you filled. So for example, you filled the values in here and you want to submit them to a PHP file in the backend. How do you do it? So use the submit button. Again, start with the less than sign, type in input, and here type equal to submit. That's it. That should give you a button which is of the type submit, so that there's some benefit to it compared to the button. It actually calls for the form to be submit, while a normal button will not do the submit of the form. Let's check it out. So you can see here that the submit button has been created, and this is clickable. Right now nothing is happening, but this is clickable. Okay, and the final part, the button itself, which does not fulfill the role of submit. It can, but we don't want it to be submitting the form. Instead we want it to do something else, like validate some value on the front end itself. To do that, we're going to use something called as button and close it using the slash button. And inside these, between these two opening and the closing tags, you're going to write something like validate the form. And this may be used by the JavaScript code to validate any kind of form or do some other action. Let's check it out how it looks like. It looks quite similar to submit, but as I told you, the purpose of the two buttons are different. So till now I have not talked about how to send this data to the server. So obviously if you want to send this data to the server, you will have to include this everything inside a form tag till the point of submit. And let me format a little bit so that's more understandable. So I've started with the form tag over here and I've ended with the slash form here. So now this form becomes submittable, but no value will be submitted except the input type, because this is a very important point. It's called as the name. We have to give the name to every of the field, every single field that we are going to output, that we are going to send to the server. So we have to give it some name, for example first name or email, and password also we have to give some name. Okay, and then we have to give a name to this guy also. Okay, in case we want to give the button name also, we can give it. So now you can see that all these values will be submitted to the server. I'm not going to discuss how to process them on the server, but this is the minimum that you will have to do to transfer your control values that you input in this form. So this is how you create controls in the HTML body. And if you have any questions, do let me know using the comments or messages. I'll be happy to answer. And if you like my video, please subscribe or like and share my videos. That will help me a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.